Welcome to Zentangle Project Pack number 17, day 5. My name is Rick,
Hi, I'm Maria.
and this project pack goes in a particular order, so please watch the videos in order that they're up on YouTube. So you can see here the three tiles sets that we've started with, and the one on the left, Maria's finished. And I'm going to work on the one in the middle that Molly did. And so you may not have the same string, but whatever string you have, it's going to work in this series. And because the tangle that we're going to put in there is going to match up and be able to fill whatever shape section you have. I'm going to begin with my black micron pen. And as you saw in the previous video, I'm going to use one of Maria's tiles as a reference so that when we put these tiles together in a kaleidoscope, they're going to fit together. And granted, there are some sections that are going to be a little bit different, but these center sections are all going to meet in a way that'll have sort of like a mirrored resonance.
You don't have to worry about them being exact because these will be exact enough.
Right.
They'll work. You wait till you see them when they're all together. You'll
Yeah.
never notice the millimeters of black that don't match up.
Yeah. And it's like anybody who's put their tile in a mosaic. You know, it's common that as you're doing a tile, you're looking and judging or fretting, but then when it goes in the mosaic, it just, all those little things that you might have concerned yourself with, they just all disappear in this beautiful composition. And that's where we're taking this in this series.
Take your time, enjoy coloring in. What beautiful colors. I love this.
Right? And not only do you have different, perhaps, strings in this, but you may be working with different colors as well. So it's going to be really neat to see how you interpreted what we took, and you necessarily had to take it in your own direction. So it's going to be great, and we invite you to put those up on the Zentangle Mosaic app.
It certainly forced us to do a lot of tangling.
Right?
Yes.
Because each of these we did 6 times.
Right.
So now I'm just going to use one of mine as a reference, and we're just showing you a little bit here as a refresher of how we're going through this. And I'm doing it close. I'm really not worrying about if it's perfectly there, but really enjoy the process. Take your time filling in. Right? So now I'm going to play with my dark gray micron. And we're going to do Hollis. So from that middle, I'm just going up and around and creating a Hollis, what do you call it? A Hollis
frond,
tendril,
yeah.
frond,
Yeah.
one of those initial shapes.
Leaf shape, a funny leaf.
Yeah. And I go up and away and then curl around, and you might think, okay, in this case, I'm going to like bump up against that and then come back down. So this is all about auraing the shape that you did. And in some ways it's like muka. There's like a resonance there with muka. And it may go behind those other shapes. So this is the way you can make it fit in whatever shape you have or space you have, just by understanding that you can go behind as well as filling that shape in. So if you remember the way that Maria auraed the Crescent Moon, that little squished out ladybug shape there, we're going to do the same thing and draw behind that initial hollow bar. So the first one, auras the crescent moon, and then the second one goes out to the corners.
These tiles are strung so that they match.
Right.
So they everything works from the center, and every pre-strung tile will match up with all the other pre-strung tiles. Believe it or not, they all
Yeah.
match up.
Even if their string is like really, really different.
Yeah, yeah.
Where it hits the edge, it meets the string on the other ones.
It was an interesting project designing them. Yeah.
So I'm putting those auras in. And then once I have those auras in, I'm going to go back to my gray, dark gray pen and just start putting in Hollis, like sprouts that branch out from that first one. And I'm doing it a little bit differently, and those that have practiced Hollis can see the difference. But I'm just making it so that there's always just one stem coming off. It doesn't double up. And they can go off in different directions. They can go behind. And you can see that this particular tangle can fill any shape, because not only is it very flexible, but it just can go behind whatever else is there, including itself.
Right. So you got a little bit more room to work in here, in the center of this particular one. So it's giving you some creative license.
So just see wherever there's an open space, think of this lovely plant just growing to fill that other space, that open space, but it's also not crowding the others because it can always just very politely go behind.
Right. So you can see where Rick is taking his other tile and bringing that stem out pretty much where the first stem left, so that when we match them up, you can see these stems mirroring each other.
Right?
For the most part.
Exactly. And again, you'll see a couple times where I like came down on the other side, and it all works out. But in this one, I wanted to, instead of having small ones that went up to the middle, I wanted to have long ones that just went all the way through, just to show you that, depending on the type of shape that you might have or space that you might have available on your tile, that there's many different ways to fill that space with Hollis. So once that first set of fronds are down, we'll put our auras in with a black pen, because I want to have that sort of mirroring feel with the ones the way Maria did it. And now I go back and just add them wherever you think would be a beautiful place. And this is the beauty of this art form is, and this particular project pack, is that you're working with a tangle probably in a different shaped space, and you get to interpret how you're going to put it into that space instead of just copying, one of us. Really, the idea is to have this creation that's only yours. So once I've got that down, I'm going to take my light gray pen and just add a couple more auras, sort of like ripples on a pond that are fading away as they expand. And you'll notice, and I didn't do this intentionally, but a lot of times the space in the aura and the width of the Hollis, there's a resonance there. So that's something you can play with, either making it different, or in this case, it's very similar. It's also very similar to the size of Maria's muka stems.
Mm-hmm. So what he's putting in is just a textural background so that it's light, but it's not white.
Mm.
This is a pattern you found in Taiwan, was it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And this is something that, this little bit of aura-ing here, it looks like not that much, but when you have them both together, it really shows up. So I'm not going to do all of them, but I just want to show you a couple other approaches. And this way, we've got some real fast-growing Hollis that it just immediately jumps up and fills the whole space.
Makes you sort of question things, right?
No,
Sorry, I couldn't
no
help
assumptions there. I love that. Yeah, a Hollis does question things. So again, doing it in a hollabaugh fashion. And I'm actually drawing behind, like where would it come out, and just feeling it instead of projecting it, just walking along the whole pattern there. So just sort of watch it come out of the soil or out of the earth and just decides to grow. And it has a mind of its own, but it also is playing with the other tangles that are there. So this one's a real big one. You can see how it's just going around.
I like how all these fronds are growing from the edges and, mingling up together in the middle.
Mm,
Playing.
definitely having fun. And then using that whole process to just fill in all of those other spaces, or not. Right? So it gives you an idea of where it can go. And this one, I was just having too much fun. These just actually come up together, and they decided to just touch in the middle instead of going under each other. So in whatever space you have, decide all the different ways you want to do it, because they're going to have their own experience in that space, and at the same time, they all will reflect the places where they meet. This one is like deciding to knot itself up there. So have fun with this, and when you have them all done, you can put them together on your desk. And remember, if you're working on this larger sheet, then to add 6 of them somewhere on that larger sheet as we bring this all together.
How pretty, right?
That's
The
really
garden.
nice.
It's really pretty.
This is going to be beautiful. So thanks so much for hanging out with us. And please share what you do on the app, and we'll see you tomorrow.
See you later. Bye.
Bye now.